What's up, everybody, and welcome to another installment of the Nerd Jocks podcast. I am Chris Marone.
We back! I'm Jesse Grund. Really excited to be back. You know, football season finally ended for me, so finally got some time to be able to start knocking out some podcast time. I love podcast time.
I've also been busy, too, producing a film right now with my wife.
No big deal.
Yeah, just no big deal. Just making this feature during the pandemic, trying to help raise awareness on a human interest piece. Yeah. No, we've been super busy, but we're stoked to be back here and talking more about things, all things Nerd Jock.
Yes, and we've got some big news today. Look, I had totally intended for this first episode back to be about PlayStation 5. And we will. We will address PlayStation 5.
It's coming.
Its gloriousness, and it is very big. But something happened yesterday. Oh, there's other stuff, like the monolith in Utah. Like,
this random, and now it's gone.
Agency,
the monolith's
now
gone.
It's gone, and then another one showed up somewhere else. Like, there's so much nerdy and jockey stuff going on out there. We've got college football is coming to a head, and we got players opting out. We've got all this stuff going on right now. But then Warner Brothers drops the bomb story on us yesterday that we had already been kind of talking about this as an episode, and now it's like, well, we really have to talk about this now.
For sure.
We have to. Like, I mean, there's no way we're going to miss this. So,
because it's a potential, it's a what seems to be a short-term decision that could become a long-term effect.
Oh, it's huge. I mean, it's huge. So the story that we're obviously discussing is Warner Media announcing that their entire 2021 slate of films is going to be available both in theaters and on HBO Max. And it's going to be on HBO Max for no extra charge. And not only is it going to be no extra charge, but it's available the same day that it opens in theaters. And it's going to be available for a month. Like,
it's crazy.
Their 2021, it's not a slouchy like lineup.
No.
Like we got Matrix.
These are all the films that they were able to be making before they were being affected by the pandemic, and they were like, but we're releasing them in 2021, I guess, on streaming platform.
Yeah. So just a few to name that are very nerdy. Obviously, there's a lot of movies that are going to be on here, but let's name a few. So obviously, we knew the Wonder Woman announcement, and we thought that was just going to be a temporary one-off thing because it had been delayed so many times at this point.
God, yeah.
Like, hey, let's just, they're going to get it out there. But we got Wonder Woman coming out on Christmas Day. And then Dune, the new Mortal Kombat movie, Matrix 4, Godzilla versus King Kong, which I'm still wrapping my head around the fact that somehow they were able during a pandemic to get a giant gorilla and a giant lizard to fight each other during the pandemic.
Yeah, I mean this is way crazy.
It's crazy. Am I missing anything? I mean, I know there's some other movies.
Yeah, I think there were some other ones. So I think those are the most notable. But I think the most notable of the story is the simple fact that this is happening next year, where these major intellectual properties that normally rake in hundreds of millions of dollars up to potential billions if they do well enough, they're all coming out on a streaming platform, which is a monthly service. And I think they're testing the waters to see how many subscribers they get that are interested in consuming normally theatrical content on a streaming platform.
Yeah, I think, I mean, they're not the first one. We already saw it with Disney. Disney Plus did it with Mulan. Yeah. Except it wasn't free. No. It was an extra $30 on top of it.
Right. This is the Netflix model.
Right. So this is like, hey, it's not even an extra $30. It's, hey, you can just watch it, which is like,
it's pretty big.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, because some films on Netflix were like that film could have easily gone to theater, but I'm watching it here at home. And now HBO Max, with these films that we've never seen cross the line, so to speak, are now crossing the line. And what does that mean? What does that mean for the future of movie going and how we consume movies?
So do you think you're in the industry? and a just honest take from you, do you think that we are moving towards streaming, video on demand streaming, trumping the movie theater experience? Do you think that that's what we're moving towards?
I think we were already seeing a decline of movie theater going. I think part of the reason we saw that remember that Movie Pass service that came out and everybody was like, is this an alternate reality? You saw the movie theaters responding to the fact that the only things that were doing really good were like the big tentpole superhero films that were bringing in all this money, and that's what you want to go see. It's like going to the circus. You're like, all right, I'm going to go to a movie theater to essentially go to the circus and be wowed. I think it's hard to project what's going to happen because we're not all prepared for what we're going through right now. Even the businesses, we can see these even these huge billion-dollar studios are like, what do we do? Oh my God, I have no idea what to do. We got to try something because we need to make some money instead of making no money. And so I think this choice, while being what could be long-term, I think part of it is just like, we'll do this for now. We'll see what happens once we settle back down into normalcy, whenever that is, which is probably looking at 2022, and then maybe get back into movie going. I do hope something does birth out of this that I want to get into. But I don't think I don't want to believe they want to go long term with the streaming service, personally.
Well, what's interesting is that what movie theater chains do we have left? Like, we already lost Regal, one of the largest ones is gone. It shut down.
So it's
all of its
AMC and
theaters.
Cinemark, and then I think isn't there one other one or no?
I mean, I'm kind of reserved to East Coast stuff, so pretty
Right.
much AMC and Cinemark right now. So we have them slowly dying off. AMC came out and made a statement that they were strongly against this. They thought this was a very selfish decision by Warner Media in regards to making this decision.
They have the right
I
to
gotta
say
be
that.
honest. And yeah, for sure.
'Cause-
You're running a business
Yep.
where you're putting out a
It's
movie.
a partnership
and-
too. These
partnership,
chains
right.
have this partnership with these studios, and now the studios are doing something that's kind of unintentionally disrupting that relationship.
Sure. Oh yeah, for sure. It's I don't know. Are we an R-rated podcast or are we G-rated podcast? I can't remember.
Listen, we're us. Live like you.
Okay, I'm going to use an analogy here. This is the equivalent of being in a relationship and suddenly telling your spouse, I'm just going to masturbate all the time. That's pretty much what it is. Because if you look at it, like,
It's only
at the end,
only serves themselves.
it only serves themselves. So then it comes down to, okay, where
Yeah.
are we going to, how are we going to do
What a
this?
visual.
They're just servicing themselves now.
Yeah.
But ultimately, so a couple of things here. One, I've seen the production value of what we're seeing on streaming services, which you kind of talked about a little bit, exponentially go up, right? Yeah. I mean, we're not talking, crap films being put out here, or even crap episodic television shows. We're talking upper echelon viewing experience.
Look at The Mandalorian.
I mean,
If-
I'm going to commit nerd. I haven't watched it yet.
Okay. You're missing out.
So I know I am.
I've got to catch up on this
I wanna
season.
watch it.
We got to catch up on the
I want to
season.
watch it.
But
I want to watch it.
the technology they're using to do that show is crazy.
I think I pretty much lost like half of the audience's respect.
Do you know about the tech they're using on that set? Have you heard about it? Just a quick rundown to bolster the claim you just made about the production value. They are no longer using like blue screen. They have an actual projected image of what is going on behind the actors, and it comes through when you film it like it's actually being filmed there. It's a huge screen that it moves, the background and stuff moves with the camera. You have to look behind the scenes, but you'll see them walking around, and it's not blue screen. They themselves can see the projected image. It's where the tech's going in terms of a slightly augmented reality with CGI.
I was gonna say AR-ish, right?
It's crazy, but they're doing that on a show that's on a streaming service. So yeah,
that's what I mean. And the rumors are that Disney's even talking about. Disney was already talking about seeing the success that Mulan had and doing that long term with their releases. I think we're getting to a point right now where the at-home viewing experience, and it's not for every American, obviously, but the at-home viewing experience has the opportunity to be so good And not only that, like the last time you were at what was the last film you went to go see at a movie theater?
Great question. The Invisible Man was the last film that Kika and I saw in theaters. Wonderful film. Lee Winnell is a wonderful director and writer, and I was super impressed with a remake actually doing as well as it did. But yeah, The Invisible Man.
So, did you buy concessions while you were there?
Yep.
How much did you pay for popcorn, a couple of drinks, and maybe jujubes?
Oh, no jujubes. So everything sans jujubes, probably another $20.
So another $20 for something that if you sat around at home and you did it, popcorn and a couple of drinks may cost you like 65 cents.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
No, I'm just using that as an.
For sure.
And probably not 65 cents. But those.
Oh, I go back for those refills, y'all.
Yeah, right. Seriously, Abyss Boy. But and by the way, we do need to do an episode of the reboot of Animaniacs because it has been.
I haven't watched it.
It's so good.
Good.
It's so good. We should do a viewing party together.
Cool. I like it.
So good.
I'm down.
Yeah. So I think the movie theater experience used to be that. It used to be an experience, right? I remember when we were kids, we'd go and it was always the same ritual, right? Mom would buy the tickets. We'd always get a seat like 4 rows up from where like the front and that other spot sits, and it'd always be on the end, and we'd always have the popcorn and I'd have Coke Zero and the candy, and we'd always go to Publix beforehand so we could buy the candy, and then my mom could hide it in her giant purse,
which is hilarious because recently I learned from a YouTube video of like people who like worked at AMC or whatever, fun movie goer facts that you should know. They don't care. They don't care that you bring in the candy. We've been smuggling in candy for all these years, like we're Ethan Hunt or James Bond having to deliver a package, and we just learn we don't care.
We don't care. We really don't. We really don't. I've walked in there with beer and wine before as I've gotten to be older.
Hey,
Give me a
how's
break.
it going? This is my size. Yes, I'm normally shaped this way.
My wife is pregnant, I promise. Why is it shaped like a 6-pack of beer? Because she's got a 6-pack and then there's a baby underneath the 6-pack. Jeez.
That's how that
works. Why are you
works.
body shaming her?
That's how that
right
works.
Now? Science. But it was an experience, right? But that experience has gotten to be more and more expensive, but also less and less genuine in that I could have that same experience kind of at home. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And so I think there's a certain element of we're graduating from that. We're graduating into this new world of technology and streaming media and everything else. And I don't think the theaters are keeping up. I think they are just like, hey, we're a movie theater. This is what we do. You see little things here and there. You see like, there was a 4D movie theater here in Central Florida where like went and like the chairs moved and like wind blew on your face and
got
like,
them here.
All that stuff. Yeah. And it's like, okay, that seems like a step towards a direction, right?
And I think they implemented it late last year going into towards the pandemic is when they were maybe going to do more of it. So they got crippled by that hitting with that tech probably spreading.
And 3D making a comeback and movies being in 3D and now that not being as big a thing anymore. It's just, to me, it's like, I don't think that theaters have actually caught up with where we're at right now. And I think there's this like line in the sand. This is who we are. This is how movies are going to be made. This is how we're going to put them out. Deal with it. And I think, and I don't necessarily want to say I applaud Warner Media because it's not that, but I do want to say that like they had a choice here. They could put these movies out into theaters and maybe make no money in 2021 because based on what we're looking at, or they could try and build their subscription streaming service and try and build up the membership base. And I had this conversation with you a little bit before. I think HBO Max is somewhere between $10 and $15 a month. I think is where it is.
Yeah, I think it's 15 now. Or this, I think with this thing, 15. It's going to be 15. Yeah.
So I have it already. I bought it for a year.
They're offering a deal right now. No, this is not, we're not sponsored, but we'd love to be.
Sponsored by HBO Max.
Yeah, no, they're offering a deal right now for cheap upfront annual cost. Yeah.
Yeah, so I bought a year months ago, right? When it first came out. So I bought a year then. And we like it. It's a wonderful, beautiful interface. I'd say that's a nicer interface than some of the other streaming services, and it's a little bit more intuitive. And there's a lot on there, and obviously Warner Media has this huge collection of content at this point. But I say all that to say that, like, if it auto renews in May, I may not notice it in my bank account. And they're banking on that. It's how places like Planet Fitness make so much money, and you see Planet Fitnesses or YouFits everywhere. For that amount of money in a bank account, that's kind of a drop in the bucket, or on a credit card, you're not really going to notice that. So they live and die off of what's called EBT, which is electronic funds transfer. They really, or not EFT, EBT. I can't remember what the B stand for, but basically it just means like auto drafting a bank account or auto drafting a credit card. Like, if I get somebody, there's statistics saying how long those people will last if they sign up for a membership and they last past the first couple of months.
Yeah.
Like, you are talking about something that can make them, it's relatively passive income.
Yeah.
Right. So, you know, if somebody goes and sees Dune once, okay, let's just say the only movie they go see that year is Dune. Let's say it's $20 to go see Dune. And I know it's unrealistic for somebody to go see one movie. Let's just use it. They go see Dune once, pay $20 to see it. They got to split that with the theater, whatever amount that is. They get $10 off of that person. Let's say they want to see Dune and they sign up for the HBO Max for $15 a month. They do 2 months of that. They just made more money off that person if they had just gone to see the movie.
Right.
So I totally get this. And I think if it's successful and HBO Max explodes and you see this huge subscriber base that comes from it, I think you're going to start seeing a drive towards that for new movie release.
Well, and my thought on that is, some might say, well, that's like the death of movie theaters. And I think in one sentence, the death of modern movie going is what we'll see, but potentially the birth of something new and exciting and something I've wanted really badly. And the tech is there for it. And I would hope that these movie theaters can find a way to invest in what you were talking about before, which is, you know, no longer did we really have that movie-going experience that stood out like it used to, because that home technology was getting really good at allowing you to have a wonderful experience, you know, in your home without having to go and deal with all the added costs of stepping into a movie theater, right? But something about a movie theater that a lot of people enjoy is just the social activity, right? There's just that joy of going and being around others and walking away and just having that feeling and excitement and hearing the buzz. You know, there's something genuine about that. And we have multiple living generations right now that have experienced that as a common way of consuming films, and knowing the impact of films and why we have that joy. So what I want to see out of this, you know, talking about like the death, but then the birth, even in comics it happens all the time, right? Is that our movie-going experience step into the world of augmented reality, enhanced movie-going experiences that you just can't get at home. Where when you step into a theater with everyone else, it almost feels like, you know, when you're at a theme park, in the rooms that you sit in and you have those big viewings of the spectacles and the rides that you're on, movies turn into that, where the added layer of the movie-going experience isn't something you can get at home because you don't have the money to spend on the, you know, the augmented reality cameras or the glasses that you may get that help project the image into the room. So it feels like you're actually stepping into these worlds. So if the new Avatar comes out, you're surrounded by the, you know, the land as the camera's there. You're not going to get that at home. So this is where I think these individuals that are running these movie theater chains that are still around need to start thinking of, when we do come back, what do we offer them to want to pull them out of the, I'm so used to now just paying for the streaming service and I get my content at home. It's got to be something more to that sensory experience that goes along with being in a movie theater, like that chair that moves and the wind blowing in the face, but magnify that even more.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that would be really cool. I have no idea what the price tag would be on
For
an
sure.
AR movie experience, but I think that would be really cool. I want to touch on something you said about the social experience. You know, the way we use movies, which I think is really cool when you think about it. Do you remember the scene in? Of course you remember, but do you remember the theater you were in during Endgame when the little holes, the portal started
Oh
opening?
yeah.
And on your left, did your theater cheer?
The energy in the movie theater was yeah, it was a moment of like we all were on the same vibe,
Right.
you know.
Like that's the cool experience you get out of a movie theater. You know, I'm going to use this other movie that I said.
Did you see A Quiet
gets a lot
Place
of-
in the movie theater?
I didn't. No,
That was one where we were like people were all just on the edge of their seat because of the thing they did with sound. Like you couldn't open a bag of candy because you were just like, and it was just so loud the way it was. And you were like, oh my god. So
That's
yeah,
awesome. I was actually going to use another one. So I saw we have a couple of IMAXs here in Central Florida, and I went to we saw the first Amazing Spider-Man, so the one with Andrew Garfield.
yeah,
And that movie gets a lot of hate. I enjoyed it. I really liked that one. The second one, that's a topic of conversation for another time. But the scene in that movie when he's got to swing all the way to he doesn't know how he's going to get there, where he's got to swing all the way to the building because Dr. Connors is basically climbing the building to disperse that stuff all over New York City. And all the cranes like winch themselves right over that space. And he webs his leg up and then just takes that dive and like starts swing. I still get goosebumps right now thinking about that scene because A, the music's perfect for that scene,
right.
and B, just the overall feeling. I remember the first one that he like fell, and then he comes up. C. Thomas Howell brings him up with that crane. Like our theater applauded, and there was like this feeling in the air. It was almost like that goosebump tingle feeling as you're watching it, but you could feel that everybody else is feeling that at the same time. Yep. And I think there's never going to be like I still get that from Endgame now.
We can't have like that at home though.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think there are certain scenes that kind of transcend that. Like the scene in Endgame with On Your Left, like I still get goosebumps from On Your Left. Right. I will always, even sitting by myself in my office, yeah. On Your Left comes on, I'm still gonna do that.
Yeah.
Okay. But you're right. There are certain moments that we can't get if we're not in that. That's why I think there's gonna be a certain. I wouldn't be surprised if what we see is not as many films going to the big screen, but certain types of films going to the big screen. And I think that's going to be a big deal as well, because like, again, I'm going to use Endgame. Seeing Endgame in theaters and seeing Endgame at home is definitely a different experience. No matter how big a TV I have at home, it's not the same experience. So I think we may see a shift in what movies go to theaters and what immediately start bidding to the, like, I can't imagine, like, even though Godzilla versus King Kong is going to be on HBO Max, if I watch it on HBO Max and it's any good, I'm going to go see it on a big screen. Yeah. Because it's Godzilla versus King Kong. Right?
Those are movies you consume on a big screen. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I think there are certain things, and I think that could also work in Warner's favor. And you may see some box office numbers you're not expecting. Yeah. Because I think some people may watch it at home and then go, wow, I really want to go to a theater and watch this because this is going to be really cool to watch.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep.
You know, I think that could definitely be a place we go in regards to like kind of maybe like early viewing experience. And it's like, wow, I really want to go see that on a big screen. Like, holy crap, Endgame, these portals open. There's a huge battle. I want to see what it looks like on freaking a 5-story screen. Like, yeah, that's different.
And that's something too, because when I'm hearing you talk about it, I'm like, yeah, I think there's just going to be, interestingly enough, I feel like there's a lot of pent up energy in a large majority of society. At least I'll speak for stateside. What it seems like is not being able to do the things that you were used to doing, and knowing that there is going to come a time when you'll be able to go do those things again. I think there's going to be a huge yes, of course, yeah. I think there's going to be a huge burst of social activity when we're able to get back out in the world and do what we were doing before and having that experience, you know, we are social creatures. We know that. We've been studied, human beings have been studied enough to know what makes our brains as efficient as possible, what makes our, our happiness. Like, we need to be social. That is a thing about us. Like that's, something, just on a biological level, we connect to without even realizing it. Right. It's why, like, sporting events,
walk around talking about science.
It's like sporting events are so
weird to watch. They were so weird to watch right now.
Exactly.
It's such a weird experience as a viewer.
And it's probably even weird for the ones that do allow some people to go and sit in the stadiums, and you're like, why are we so spread out? Like, you're like the intensity of just being close. I can't. Yeah. So, once all that stuff settles back down and it's safe and we're not going to potentially, infect one another and spread and, lead to the negative results, I think there's going to be a lot of that activity, and I kind of want to see what's going to happen with those theater chains that do survive, if they do, and what that means for them. It's so hard to tell. This is the whole thing about the HBO decision that I'm like, I get it as a short-term choice. They need that money. Like, they need to bank on the fact that a lot of people will next year sign up for this service so they can recoup those costs, because they weren't going to recoup them by doing it in the normal way.
No, for sure. They were not. And I agree. I think, 2021, 2022, whenever it is. In Russia, it's going to be sooner. But again, I think they're going to turn to zombies before we do. Again, I want people to go back and watch this when there are no zombies. And they go, that guy was calling the zombie apocalypse way before it happened.
You're calling the zombie apocalypse before the alien invasion. And we have these random monoliths popping up. I love it.
So exactly. I'm just telling you, it's like that. By the way, I watched a really good zombie movie the other day that I probably will never watch it again, but it was good for the first time viewing. It's the one with Bill Murray and Adam Driver.
I was not a big fan.
The Dead Don't Die.
Yeah.
It was a good viewing experience. I just won't watch it again. One, I thought it was like, I got it.
Yeah.
I got it. I understood what they were doing.
Yeah.
But like, I'm not like, oh man, we should watch The Dead Don't Die. This is a great film to review.
I will recommend a zombie film if you haven't seen it, The Train to Busan.
The Train to Busan. I have not seen that.
Oh my God. It's a Korean film. It's so good. It's zombies on a train. It's zombies on a train.
Dubbed?
It's subtitled. No. It's so good. Yes, you can. Yes, you can.
Can't do subtitles.
Yes,
if I'm
you
going to
can.
read, I'm reading a book. I'm just saying.
You can do it. Trust me. The film is so good. This is one of the best zombie movies I've ever seen. I can't say it enough. They're doing a sequel as well. And I think they were even trying to do like an American remake or re-envisioning of it. And I'm like, what are you doing? Stop it. No, just let them make their films. Their films are great. Yeah.
What was the Nazi one that came out like last year? It's on Overlord. I watched Overlord. I liked that. I don't know if you've seen Overlord. Overlord was a fun little, if you get a chance, it's on Amazon Prime. It's like basically the Nazis were trying
subtitles?
to perfect the zombie process. No, there are not.
Then I can't do it. There's got to be subtitles. There's got to be subtitles, otherwise I can't do it.
Hey man, it's art. It's your viewing experience. But back to the topic at hand. I think it's really important that we see this as, yes, it could be short term, but this could also be an experiment that the rest of the industry is watching.
Of course.
If they suddenly pull in 200 million subscribers to the HBO Max platform at $15 a month, and they have those subscribers for a year, think about what the amount of money that they're making from that. I mean, that is an incredible amount of money that they are making and not splitting with the theater chains.
Yeah.
And I think that's part of why AMC is so angry, because if this has an opportunity to succeed, and if it succeeds in a big way, not just makes them their money back, but if they make more than their money back, you're gonna see Disney probably looking at doing the same thing. You're going to see shareholders pushing for, and leadership for people to start pushing the bigger ones to do it. I don't think we're necessarily going to see it with smaller studios, but I do think we'll start seeing bigger studios that have their own content, these own libraries of content to put it out and do it. And look, HBO, I think just by getting somebody to sign up to watch the new Mortal Kombat, which I don't know why we're getting a new Mortal Kombat movie, but we are getting a new Mortal Kombat movie.
When you said that, I was like, what? That was on there? I guess my brain was just subconsciously blocking it out.
Look, the Christopher Lambert Raiden was already perfect. Why are you messing that up? I can't even say that with a straight face.
Oh man, we made these movies.
but you know, I don't see this being a bad thing for HBO. I think the only person it's a bad thing for is AMC. I think AMC and Cinemark.
Yeah,
I think it really is. They either have to change the way they're doing it, change their pricing model, change their concession pricing model, do something to be able to attract people during that first month to be able to come out and see it. And I do think it's smart also that HBO Max is only doing a month. Like, hey, this is only going to be available for a month.
Yeah.
You get 30 days to watch it, and that's it.
That's it.
Which I think is smart.
Yep.
Okay? Because at the end of it, like, hey, if the movie's good, maybe 2 months later, I'm like, hey, you know what? I want to go see Dune on the big screen. I don't know if I'm going to want to see Dune at all. But, hey, maybe I want to go see Dune. You know? I'm definitely going to want to watch Matrix 4 just because I have no idea what the heck they are going to do with that story. They pretty much gave it. I've already written my fan fiction for it, but that's a whole nother topic for another day. But like, we're getting a Matrix 4, a prequel to The Sopranos. It's the Mini Saints of Newark, I think is what it's called.
Yeah.
I know that was one of the ones on the list. A musical from Lin-Manuel Miranda. Like, some of those movies might not have made as much money in theaters, and they're probably going to make more money just from being a streaming opportunity for people.
Yeah.
But man, I can't imagine what the CGI for like Godzilla versus King Kong costs.
I'm also curious, and this is only just because
Suicide Squad too. Totally forgot Suicide Squad.
As someone, going to be working to sell a film next year, and hope possibly get a streaming deal. I'm curious with these big budget films, what their agreements would be with these streaming deals. Like, that's a new territory as well. What percentage do you get of the monthly cost or the monthly fee? Is it viewership? Where do those things tie into that does it emulate the theater chain in any way? I'm curious because I wonder what that does. Does that potentially bolster investment in films because there's a huge amount of money to pull from? Like look at what Netflix is raking in a month, right? Even though they
in the red.
Yeah, they have supposedly they have like a $14 billion deficit.
I have no idea how.
What?
I mean, they just kind of hand money to Adam Sandler and just let him.
They
do
continue to make money
and
funnel it into new content because because their subscriber base just continues to grow. So yeah, there's a lot here to everyone. I think is just sitting, waiting, trying to gauge what's going to happen. I really want to believe that AMC and Cinemark that are hanging on right now will find a way to create an experience in their buildings that you just can't get at home. That's what they have to do. They have to do that in order to make this feel worth it.
We could go back to having intermission again and like, hello, my baby, hello, my honey, hello, my
live performances.
Yeah, the little dancing popsicle that goes across the screen.
Yeah.
You can have somebody walk around that's got a little flashlight that's walking you to your chairs.
Yeah.
Like, I think that would be like, let's bring back the really old, like the old timey movie theater experience. Let's bring back drive-in movies. By the way, have you seen the float up movies? Have you seen those where they basically like, you're like they put these screens, they're on like bodies of water like a lake or something, and you like float up and you interchange like tubes, like inner tubes, and you watch a movie like on the water.
Oh, that's cool.
I was like, yeah, except until you sit there and somebody's like, hey, let's do a throwback and watch Jaws.
No, I wonder what it's like when you need to go use the bathroom.
It's right there. You don't have to miss any of the
Yeah.
movie. It's
Well, that's,
right there.
and something to be said too about this is like we're still seeing people go to these drive-in theaters. Chain, a bit aside of the movie business that probably never thought they would be making the money that they're making right now. These drive-in theaters are doing very well, And
Yeah,
what's
you got this mom and pop drive-in theater. Then it's like, honey, what movie are we gonna show today? And it's like, we got 43 cars here. We better show something new.
and they're getting the new films too.
Yeah,
I mean, that's
I
the
know.
thing. Like these places, like we got to have it showing. We're going to show our film that would never come to your mom and pop drive-in theater, and now it's showing,
Right.
and they're making more money.
Right.
Like, I mean, we've seen it out here too. And what I do like is it happened at the beginning. I don't know how much it's happening now, but there was a film called The Wretched, which was this horror film that came out, and at the time, it came out at the right time. In the drive-in theaters, because of the pandemic's beginning, it became the number one movie, and it was like this super low-budget horror film that was okay. It was pretty good for what it was, but it got the number one name. Wow. So that like these filmmakers can walk around and be like, yeah, I had a number one movie in America at one point, and because they literally did, yeah,
Resume.
And it was just The Wretched. So I do want to think like if these
Sounds like a video game, by the way.
yeah, if these chains that are still around, the ones maybe they do find a way to fund some of these drive-in theaters. Maybe there is an AMC drive-in that pops up. Maybe there is a Cinemark drive-in that pops up where they can take a chance on some of these unknown projects that could do well. So there's things there that could just naturally generate more interest if they're willing to take those risks. They have nothing to lose right now because they're already losing. You know what I mean? Like AMC and Cinemark have to start trying stuff in order to really maintain. Or some newcomer in the movie theater industry pops up and says, I've figured out, or we've figured out what will bring people in, which is something we know that we see all the time in capitalist environments, is usually when something declines, somebody comes along and figures out the solution to get that, back up, and it's now their baby, and they've now taken the stage, and we have some new name we're talking about when it comes to movie theaters.
What's been your most favorite viewing experience for a film not Avengers?
I'm a fan of horror films in theaters. There's nothing like it, but I would say A Quiet Place did something that I hadn't really experienced before, and that was really cool. The sound design blew me away and kept me on the edge of my seat and really made that movie-going experience something fresh. And I was that was one that stood out to me and excited me for, oh wow, I hadn't really understood you could do that before. You could get it to a level inside a theater that it's quiet enough but loud enough. I don't know how to describe it. The sound design is amazing in that film. What about you?
For me, it's one that I saw The Room in a theater. You know which movie I'm talking about, correct?
Tommy Wiseau's The Room. Okay.
So I went to a local. It's called the Enzion here in Central Florida, and we went, and this is kind of where I want to go with this. So that it's a type of theater that's got like tables that you sit at.
Okay.
You get cocktail service and food service and stuff. And we're playing The Room.
Okay.
Midnight matinee showing. Also the same day that we found out we were having my son.
Oh,
so
wow.
It was really fun. It was a really fun experience. But it became a viewing experience because I don't know if you know this, there are rituals and things much like Rocky Horror Picture Show that people do at viewings of The Room.
Yep.
So like anytime like a picture of the spoons comes up, people bring metal spoons with them and they clank them together. Anytime he does these log drawing shots of the Golden Gate Bridge, everyone starts chanting, go, 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 because they want to finish the whole bridge. And I just remember, and there were so many other things, like like they quote, like everybody would openly quote parts of him. I did not do it. I did not.
Did not.
But what I thought was hilarious, that was an experience.
Yeah.
I think this kind of draws me back to what we were saying, which was there's got to go back to being, instead of it being cattle that you're just pushing in and out, that it goes back to being a theater experience that you have. And I know the room's not, it's not the same as every other movie out there. But I mean, there was a movie about the making of this movie, so
it's great.
By the way,
Disaster
if you're watching
Artist.
this and you've never watched, if you're watching this and you've never watched The Room,
go see it.
Go see it.
Watch it. Stop what you're doing and watch The Room.
Watch The Room, not Room, The Room.
The Room.
Two totally different movies.
Yeah.
Two totally different movies.
We did learn recently about a film on a different tier than The Room. Called
I was just about to say, if they release that early on streaming, are we gonna watch that?
Birdemic. Have you heard of Birdemic?
I haven't heard of Birdemic. I was referring to a different movie.
Oh no, Birdemic. Kika and I watched a shortened version, and it's enough. It's enough. But yeah, Birdemic. It's a real thing.
I was referring to the amazing looking new action movie starring the one and only Nicolas Cage called Jiu-Jitsu that's coming out.
And one of the best aspects of that movie that you pointed out was just have to ask you have to ask one question when you watch the trailer for that film. What's missing? I hit up Patrick and I sent him the trailer and I was like, what's missing? I asked him, and the first response, he was like, no one's doing jiu-jitsu.
Look, there's Japanese jiu-jitsu and Brazilian jiu-jitsu. They're not necessarily the same thing, by the way, for people out there, but it still wasn't even Japanese jiu-jitsu. Like, it just...
No one's doing jiu-jitsu.
And the master of jiu-jitsu being Nicolas Cage's character, who has I was watching a little bit, just a little snippet of the movie the other day, not the whole movie, just like a little preview or something. And he was like, remember, in jiu-jitsu, the one thing you always have is leverage. I was like,
wow.
I think he wrote that line for himself.
Probably. It had to have been. It had to have been. I imagine he spent hours upon hours studying jiu-jitsu and learning about it.
We should totally watch that movie together, but like not together at this. Here's what we should do: we should schedule a time, and we watch it at the same time.
Okay, I'll do it. I don't want to do it, but we'll do it. I don't want to do it, but we'll do it.
If you do it with jiu-jitsu, I'll do it with Birdemic if you want me to.
No, I don't want you to watch Birdemic. I want you to watch the shortened version of Birdemic. But but no, I think one of the things that we've really touched on, and to kind of like wrap up this episode, is we have an interesting future ahead of us with what's going to happen specifically with what we call, normal box office filmmaking, the side of the nerd part of Nerd Jock with, the interest in movies. Movies have had an impact on all of us. We are, again, up with multiple generations of human beings who have some memory that is tied to an impact. Our parents talk about, watching Alien on their first date. Mm-hmm. Yeah. There's so many different individuals that literally have had some sort of permanent memory tied to the movie theater experience that I think we don't want it to die out, even though it could be where this ends up, where this, story concludes for movie theaters.
And I'm, as a parent, I'm super excited about being able to take Jason to his first movie theater experience, because we know what it's like to experience a movie in that environment on big screen. Is that going to be there for him? I mean, is that going to be is that going to be an experience that he gets to have, or is the home viewership experience the thing that he understands as normal? Am I referring to this the way that we refer to rotary phones now? You know, it's a fun little. Well, I remember when we had movie theaters. That was really cool.
Oh my God, I don't ever want to say that. Like
Right?
hearing you say that makes me
Right?
go, I don't want that to exist.
I don't want it to exist either. I think they are an important part of the dynamic, but I think they need to evolve.
For sure.
I really do think they need to evolve.
For sure.
And I think that's, if anything, AMC can either take this and go, you know what, we need to change from this, or they are going to continue to, I don't know what the age of their ownership is. I don't want to get into that, but
yeah.
Are they progressive in their thinking, or are they still stuck in the golden age of movie theaters, thinking that is the expectation of the people? I think that's important.
And for those listening, share your thoughts, what you think, how you feel about this.
Your favorite movie theater experience?
Oh yeah, please share with us your favorite movie theater experience. We'd love to hear it. And where do you think it's going? Where do you think it's headed? I think I am nervous and excited all at the same time.
Yep, absolutely. I think I am too. As an HBO Max subscriber, I'm excited.
As a theater lover, as a movie theater lover, a little bit nervous.
A little scary.
But until this story fully plays out, make sure you get your subscription so you can consume those films when they come out and you want to see them and don't want to have to risk it going to a movie theater.
And you can use our discount code #NerdJock.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
There is one. It's not going to work, but you'll help us out in the process. So yeah.
Seriously.
When you get your subscription, just #NerdJock.
Whatever.
And they'll email you a code. Thank you so much, everyone, for listening.
There you go. I love it.
This episode's been great, talking about what's going on with this HBO Max news and the Warner Media movie slate for 2021. We'll be on the lookout for this trend if it goes anywhere. But as always, it's a wonderful time chatting about all things nerd and jock. And Jesse, I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule to do this.
I got so many Mongols I have to go kill now.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Mongols.
You got to do that.
So many Mongols. I got to do that. I really got to do that. Hey, next episode of Nerd Jock, guys, we're going to be talking about PS5, which is going to be a really exciting episode. But then we're also going to add some of the Jock experience to it. Yes, that's it. That's that haptic feedback that we got going on right there. Okay, but I'm also going to be demonstrating. I'm going to be doing this from my studio, so we can actually talk about some things you can do in between games, in between matches, so you're not just chronically sitting all the time in gaming, because I think that's really, really important, and you'll see more and more content like that as we're moving forward.
Absolutely. So make sure you keep tuning in.
Thanks again. We'll see you soon.
See you next time on another episode of Nerd Jocks.